All right. If you want to know all things BDR, and you may say, Steve, what is a BDR? That would be a business development rep. You are listening to the right episode with my good friend, Rachel Tarman. What's up, girl?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I am great. I am super excited to be on a podcast with you today. Let me just say this: the podcast is brought to you by the Mortgage Marketing Animals, and man, what a great crew! Because we were reflecting just a few minutes ago about how we met. Literally, it was a year ago at a June event that Carl and I did in Houston, a one-day event, and then you joined the Freedom Club right then. Like in July, you were a Freedom Club member.
I did. It was
Well,
amazing.
it's crazy, crazy, crazy.
It's so crazy, but the world makes amazing things happen for everybody.
Well, and I love the fact that you're a business development rep. And here's what we're going to talk about. So if you're listening today and you've wondered, hey, should I hire somebody who helps me get even more business and represents me out in the marketplace? You're going to love Rachel's story. So let me just tee her up real quick. 4 years in the business, and if I'm not mistaken, you were a title in the title industry before.
I was.
And then your first year as a business development rep, as you're trying to figure this out, you closed 9 million. Good year. Second year in the business, you closed $32 million. And then the third year closed $50 million as a business development rep. So you're not even doing loan products or programs. You're literally getting more business for the Bates team with VIP Mortgage. And
Yes.
so when we met last year, I absolutely not only love your story, but I've been working out this whole business development rep. So you've got a training you're going to talk about, but I even have had my people go through your training, which is absolutely exceptional. And so for those of the people that are listening for the first time, tell them your story. How did you get in the business? What caused you to continue to grow and pay for coaching when you weren't even a loan officer? That's crazy.
I mean, I never thought I'd be in this industry. I'll be very honest with you. It was a fluke. I didn't think I was going into title and escrow. And transparently, I didn't know what title and escrow was when I started in title and escrow, but I had an amazing mentor and he taught me the business development role and how to really connect with people, and connecting with people will ultimately lead to sales. So it's relationships over sales pitches, I think is so important. So I started at a title company, had an amazing mentor who's still a dear friend of mine, Devin Voss. You are absolutely incredible. And the title company that I was working with after about a year and a half was going to go commercial. And I was like, I have all these amazing people that I love, and I love the residential side. What am I going to do? So Austin, who was a client of ours at the time, was like, you got to come work for me. And I was like, Austin, with all due respect, I don't ever want to do loans, ever. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
to look at W-2s. I suck at math. Like, it's not going to happen. And he's like, well, what would you want to do? And I said, oh, I want to do like what I do now for a title, but on the mortgage side. And at the time, it wasn't really a thing. I know that some people had BDRs, but there wasn't really a name for it. There wasn't, agents weren't familiar with the role and how that played into their experience on the lending side. So he's like, let's just do it. Let's figure it out. And so we did. We figured it out, and it was a learning curve. I mean, year one to year two, a lot of scripting issues on my end. But it's working, and I love what I do. I get to work with amazing people every day. Austin's been a complete catalyst for my career and has been so incredible with helping me grow and develop a new vision for this.
Man, I absolutely love that. And so, hey, tell me this: what define what a BDR is, because you and I were talking about this. There's confusion. In the Mortgage Marketing Animals, we have a DSP manager, which is a daily success plan manager. And then there's a BDR role. And so for somebody who's listening and they say, you know what, I've thought or entertained the idea of how do I get even more sales without me having to go get even more business? Define it. What is a BDR? What's the difference?
Yeah. So the DSP manager does a lot of calling of clients, real estate agents. They're more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Your BDR is supposed to be out front and in the trenches. So I always compare it to, like, if you go to a networking event, you see that one person that everyone wants to be around, or they're like, you have to meet this person. That is your BDR type right there. So
Mm,
your BDR is to go out, make as many relationships as possible, figure out opportunities of how you can partner with those relationships, and then develop a business model based off of that.
I love it. Hey, and I love what you said. You said a couple of things. You said connecting with people and it's relationships over sales.
Totally.
I think sales are important. We need to close for the business, but I mean, it is truly genuinely about people.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to, we have to support each other. We're in an industry that's very competitive, but if you're collaborative, it's amazing how much you can get done.
Yeah.
I know tons of people that are in the loan industry in Arizona. We talk all the time.
Yeah.
We're technically competitors, but there's so much business for all of us. It's like, how do we support the people that we love? And, you know, when you go to networking events or you build relationships with your sphere of influence, how can you support those people? The business will come back around to you. I promise you. But, you know, you can't be salesy. That's like the biggest turnoff to everybody, real estate agents, you know, anybody else that's a referral partner.
I love it. Hey, we'll talk. Okay. So let's say I've got an idea, want a BDR. Where do we start? Where do we look? How do we do it?
Well, you know, going back to that analogy about the networking event, you need to find somebody like that. I get
the life of the party, the one who goes and everybody's, I mean, you just painted a great visual. Everybody's around that person.
Right. You need like the connector, but you need the connector that can follow up. And I think that's the hardest part is, you know, people might have this great aura about them, but if they can't follow up, they're not going to succeed. So finding somebody that's really, really good at follow-up is important. I know we talk about the DISC assessment. I'm a high I, high C. So I'm very personable and I love to be out with people, but I also am very regimented. Like I plan everything. So for somebody like that, I think good industries, honestly, hospitality is great. Former teachers, they're amazing. And then, you know, just to title or anybody in the industry that already has a basic like book of people that they know that are going to be great referral partners.
Hey, and okay, so let's say you hire somebody in the hospitality industry. They don't know mortgages spelled with 2 G's. They don't know what a 1008, 1003 is. You know, they don't even know what trailing conditions means or clear to close. Is that a good fit for a BDR?
Yeah, honestly, it's not about the mortgage terminology, the mortgage products. Austin's amazing at that stuff. He can answer all of those questions for my partners that I build, but it's really showing your agents that you care and that you're invested in their success. They know the products. They can look that up. You can go and get that if they really want that. But most of them, it's let's be in the trenches together. Let's partner, you know, acknowledging that, hey, the market is shifting, but people still need to buy and people still need to sell. And so we've got to shift our mindset. And honestly, a lot of my relationships with real estate agents are based off of me holding them accountable and me pumping them up when they're having a bad day. And I built relationships with them and the business came as a byproduct of that.
Wow. I love it. Hey, we'll talk about that. What's your week look like? So as a business development rep, do you follow similar like we do the daily success plan? Do you follow something similar through your week?
Yeah. So my mornings, just because that's when I'm most productive, are admin type tasks. So follow-ups with agents, social media, prospecting, phone calls, all of that good stuff. Make sure you guys make time to eat lunch because sometimes it gets very hard to do that, especially you loan officers out there. Have lunch, and then I do meetings in the afternoon. So I like to stack my meetings. I usually keep my agent meetings to 30 minutes. And people are like, you're nuts. How do you do that? And I just tell them, listen, I know you're a good producing agent. I want to be respectful of your time. So I only allotted 30 minutes. And then it allows me to ask for a second meeting. And the second meeting will go more in depth on goals and what they're struggling with. And then nighttime, usually, you know, more meetings with agents, networking, follow-up type stuff. I love it. So I could do it all day long.
I love it. Hey, and tell me this. So if I got a 30-minute meeting with you, what does that look like? Walk me through the framework of meetings.
Yeah. So mine's very strategic. I love to do, you know, the personal type stuff, the frog or Ford, as some people have called it. So family, recreation, occupation goals, usually more focus on the family and recreation. What do you like to do when you're not helping people find their dream house? What drives you? What fuels you? The second part I always ask them is, what are you struggling with, or what do you want more of in your business? And lenders often fail to do this, but the best type of sales is leading with questions, right? Because that's where you can provide value. So if an agent tells me, hey, I'm really struggling with open houses. Okay, let's dive deeper into that. What are you struggling with? What do the metrics look like? What have you tried? What have you haven't tried? Essentially you're turning into a two-person mastermind of let's figure out where those weak spots are. Because if I can help my agent make more money, I'm going to make more money too. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, and it's really cool. You're almost acting like a coach. It's,
Yeah.
I love the question. What are you struggling with, or what do you want more of? I think what's really cool is whenever you can uncover what motivates them. We can't make people successful, but we can certainly have conversations to help them uncover maybe some blind spots that they have. That's huge. Okay. So into 30 minutes, what are we doing? You closing for the business there?
So like I said, I always like to get the second meeting right away. And my
so you're closing for a second meeting.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. Like next week?
Yes. As soon as possible.
Tomorrow.
Sometimes that happens.
Tomorrow at 10. Let's keep going.
Well, and sometimes I have 30-minute meetings too, because that person won't be a good fit for me, but I can figure out in 30 minutes. Right. Yeah. So I love the second meeting to be business planning. That's what works well for me. That's my BDR style. And we're going really deep in what are you working on? What can I help you with? Who do you have in the mortgage pipeline currently? Do you know any renters? Is it a goal of theirs to buy homes? Let's get them in the process and get them invested. I can tell you a time frame, and now you have a packed pipeline.
Yeah. Hey, well, let me ask you this. So at the first meeting, are you asking for the business there? Hey, who do you have today that I can help you get pre-approved to make sure it's a great use of your time?
Yeah. I mean, again, it depends on the agent. There are some that I know will need a little bit more nurturing. But there are some that are doers and they're like, yeah, let's definitely do business together. Awesome. Who are you working with? Let's get them in. It doesn't cost them or commit them to anything by talking to us, but at least they have an accurate game plan and accurate information. But there are, part of this job is really reading the other person and figuring out what their cues are. So some are going to be a softer ask than others. And some will be a marathon approach.
Hey, well, Rachel, and look, hey, I want to role play with you. Hey, so Rachel, great meeting, but who's this Bates guy, or insert in whoever, who's your loan officer, and like, what's going to happen whenever, I refer you a deal? I want to work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you will. But there's two of us. One of the biggest complaints that I hear about the lending experience is lack of communication. So now you have two of us at all times. I'm going to take great care of you, our real estate agent, and help you make more money and really figure out what we can do to increase your business. And Austin's going to take great care of your clients. But you have two of us at all times. So if you need anything, you are more than welcome to reach out to us.
So Rachel, if I got a lead and I need to send it to you, who do I send it to?
So for the agents, what I tell them is send a lead to both Austin and I in a group text or a group email, whatever you prefer. That way one of us can get to it as soon as possible. Or if they prefer to reach out directly, have them reach out to Austin. But do me a favor, let me know that you sent them over so I can keep track and make sure that you get moved to the front of the line.
I love it. Hey, and do you do pipeline meetings with your agents weekly or monthly?
So I do. I reach out to them and let them know here's where your leads are at. We don't have an actual sit down, but I am very involved as far as knowing where my deals are. And Austin and I meet frequently throughout the week to know what's progressing.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, and tell me this, meeting number 2, what happens there? So we got a second meeting. Cool, Rachel, great to see you. What do we do?
This is going to be very tactical. So what are your goals in the short term? Where do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish in the next 3, 6, 9 months? And what can we work on right away? Okay. So this is really important, especially the goal setting. So if someone tells me, hey, I want to do 20 transactions this year. Awesome. Yeah. What's the split look like? Do you have 50% buyers, 50, whatever it may be? Let's use 50%. So you've got 10 buyers. Okay. So for every 5 leads you send me, about one of them is going to convert. So that means I need 50 leads from you. Who do we have right now? Let's get them in the process. Your
business planning really around how many deals they'll be able to send you for the year.
Correct.
I mean, that's really what it is. Hey, but listen, what if I sit down, because I'm hearing Carl White in my head over here, and he's going to be listening to this riding his bike in the morning
Hi,
at
Carl.
4:30 in the morning. And I hear him saying, don't promise to help them with their business. Do the three things: close on time, clear communication, great follow-up. So when you're doing the business plan, like, how many people say, I don't want to talk about splits, I don't want to talk about any of that? What does that look like?
I mean, the three things that Carl's talking about, Austin's going to do that. And
Yeah.
I can tell them all day long that's what they're going to do. But this is why this model is so unique in our industry, is because we truly want to invest and give back to our partners that are giving us deals.
Got it.
And that's what it comes down to.
Well, and so you'll do as little or as much. Do they have you running all over the place, like doing a bunch of things to help them? Or what does that typically look like? Do you walk away with a to-do list of what you're going to do?
Yeah. So normally I just figure out what the trajectory is going to be and what they want to accomplish. And I tell them, listen, we could have 9 million ideas, but then we're going to be running all over the place. Let's really lock in one or two and see what that does for your business. And if we need to adjust, we can. And now instead of me calling, just randomly to check in, it's very strategic. We're meeting on a monthly basis and talking about, this is where we're at with the goals.
Yeah.
And so it's a full circle. Everyone's working together towards the same end goal.
Yeah. Well, so you're just trying to understand what their business is going to look like for the year. And then are there things that you can help add value to help them get there further, faster?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. And I want the people who, if you're listening to the podcast, and I love what Rachel's saying, but don't get trapped into feeling like you've got to build realtors' business. Here's what we want to do. We want to tether to people who are already going to be successful. They'll just be even more successful tethered to us because we close on time. We have clear communication. We have great follow-up, and our processes allow us to bring excellence to everything. Like, they know, hey, this is the way a lead moves through. They, do the first call this way. They've got a loan consultation. Here's what you're going to do with my pre-approved and looking. So just be careful as you're doing that, not to get in and promise the world to fix businesses.
Yeah.
But Rachel, what I'm hearing you say is that you really want to, like, I love the fact with how many closings. Well, that's going to turn into X number of leads. We typically close 1 in 4 transactions who complete an online app. That means we need 50 leads for the month. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. You're giving them the business plan of what they're going to give you this year.
Yeah. And you don't have to be a real estate expert. And to what you were just saying, like, it's not promising the business, but it's helping them figure out their blind spots.
Yeah.
Because there are roadblocks that are getting in their way. And so that's my role in how I do BDR stuff. But the cool thing about this role is there's so many different ways to be successful. Yeah. And so what I might do could be totally different from another BDR, and that BDR is still successful. But my type of people and my personality that I attract are type A. They want to do business planning. They want to look at the metrics, and that's cool. There are some you could go out and golf all day long and get a ton of business. and that's
and get
cool
a ton
too.
of business.
You have to figure out what works for you and figure out, again, what is this agent looking for? Are they looking for just that great relationship where we golf and we do all of these fun things and it's more of a friendship? Are they looking for the business planning side? Are they looking for marketing type stuff? Every agent's different. And that's why I love doing the business plan, because it's not necessarily writing out a mission statement, doing all of that. It's asking questions to figure out, where are they now? Where do they want to be? What drives them? Yeah. And that allows you as the BDR to construct your follow-up in a way that makes sense for that particular agent.
Yeah. Hey, and listen, doing the volume how many agents do you have? Do you have a full focus 40 agents do you really? So 40 agents that refer you a lead every 90 days, refer and close at least one deal.
Yeah.
Well, and those numbers, that's remarkable. So how many relationships do you think you can effectively manage?
I would say no more than 60.
Yeah.
It's just so hard, especially because we're really going deep with those particular agents. And I want it to be a solid relationship. I just want really, really good agents that I love. And that, like, if they call me, I want to pick up the phone. And that's how I do my business. And I tell them, listen, I only work with agents. If I left the industry tomorrow, I'd still be your friend. That's a great line. I love business.
It's the truth. You want to do life and business together with people you know, like, and trust. I love that. Hey, okay. So what did you do to get the appointment? So now you've cycled through, so you're not really making a lot of cold calls, meeting a ton of brand new agents, or are you?
Not as much anymore. I'm
Okay.
finding a lot of my agents are getting bombarded with cold calls right now. So what I've really done is reach out to those 40 agents and ask them for referrals in their office. Hey,
So
listen,
like a personalized, hey, would you introduce me to somebody that you think we'd get along?
yeah, because they're already, have a great relationship with me. And sometimes they just don't think to refer us. And so we have to be like, hey, who else, do you know? Bring them to coffee. I'd love to meet them. I'd love to work with more agents in your office. You know how we work. We close on time, we communicate, we're effective. Who can you connect me to?
Yeah.
I've never had one person be like, I don't really like you, so I can't sign deals.
How many meetings a week are you doing?
Oh gosh, at least 20.
At least 20.
I had 47 3 weeks ago, and it was
What?
like never again.
7 in a week?
I was so tired. So tired. Nespresso stock went up.
Dude, 47. And were they 30-minute meetings?
Yeah, most of them were.
Hey, you know what? I bet you could get some of the meetings done in 15. It was funny when I used to do loan consultations like every day. They started at an hour, 45 minutes, 30. And I was like, could I do it to 15 minutes? And guess what? I could do a 15-minute consult and do it effective. And so I love it. Like when you're that jammed up and you're out of time, you got to be more precise or be more effective with the 15, 20, 30 minutes. So, dude, that is a rocking number, girl. Congrats.
I don't know. I was very tired and probably.
Hey, okay. So listen, if you had that many appointments, how much business did you generate because of them? How many were new and how many were relationships?
Yeah. So now just being where I'm at, a majority of them are retention clients.
Yeah.
So they're pretty easy to handle, but I still, meet with a lot of newer to me agents. They're qualified. I'd say probably 80% now are retention, about 20% are new business.
Yeah.
I still prospect. I go to open houses and meet agents that way. I did 15 open houses in 118 degrees last weekend. And it's fun for me. I enjoy it. I'm probably very weird about that stuff, but.
Well, when you find somebody similar to yourself in Texas, send them my way.
I will let you know. I don't know if everyone's ready for 2 of me. I'm a lot.
We're ready for 2 of you. I think we are. Hey, okay. So listen, BDR, what are some of the things that'll shave? Like, let's say somebody's listening and they've got a business development rep. What are some of the things, probably 3 things that helped you grow from, what was it? 7 million, no, 9 million to 32 to 50. Like, if you were looking back, talking to yourself 4 years ago, what would you have said? What are the 3 or 4 things to make sure you do?
I would say definitely consistency, scripting, and being super efficient. Those are like the 3 different areas. And what I mean by all of that is efficiency. Like I used to have really long meetings and it took up a lot of time. And then I was running all over town. And so stacking your meetings at one place is really cool. I love that. And agents are cool with it. Like a lot of BDRs think that they're not going to be, and that they're fine with it. Consistency in the follow-up. I would have great meetings and sometimes I would slack on my follow-up. And then I'm like, why isn't this person using me? We had a great meeting. So I really locked in a follow-up plan. And then 2, just the scripting, like knowing how to explain the BDR role to an agent and why you are adding value just by being that BDR role for them. That's something I struggled with because people did say, hey, I want you to be the loan officer. And I was like, no, you don't. I'm not good at math.
That's not going to be good. That won't be good for you.
It'll be ugly. But, those are the 3 things. And like, if nothing else, consistency is just so crucial in this industry, especially now when everyone's trying to get business.
Hey, what does the follow-up look like? So you said consistent. Hey, and I totally agree. I think consistency almost trumps everything else because one-offs don't win. It's when we're doing it consistently over time that we're building the trust that the agents are looking for. Everybody's told them they'll follow up. Everybody's told them they're going to deliver on something, but very few actually do. And I love the phrase we say all the time, trust is built in small kept promises. And let me throw this out there too. If you got a meeting at noon, you get there at 11:55.
Yep.
If you got a phone call that's scheduled at 11:30, you call right on the dot at 11:30. Don't be late. Make sure that you're taking the opportunity to deliver on your small cap promises. If you tell them you're going to send them more information about Curb Hero or open house information or podcast or book, do it, because those small cap promises are what will turn into big dollars of trust and confidence in you. So talk about your follow-up. When you say you've dialed it in, what does that mean?
So I have a plan and it's all tracked in my Excel spreadsheet because I'm old school. I love to do things that are a little bit different, right? So I love mail. So thank you notes, just mailing little things. Like there's an awesome book called The Extremely Busy Woman's Guide to Self-Care. I love to send that to agents and say like, hey, make sure you take care of yourself because I know you're busy taking care of everybody else. That podcast, like I listen to real estate podcasts so much, and guys, even as a lender, you can learn things from those and put it in our business. So I send those to them, especially if it's around their goals. And we just talked about, doing more listings or TikTok videos or whatever it may be. Sending a podcast, it takes me 30 seconds to do that. And it's so efficient. Video text, like just a selfie video, and honestly, it doesn't have to be real estate related. It's Monday, go crush it this week. I absolutely love that you let me be part of your journey. There's simple things. Showing gratitude is so important. Finding those resources for them. It's super cool because every agent's a little different. But I think just the consistency of the touching base with them every week. And the cool part is once you really go deep with these agents, there are some agents I talk to every day. We send memes to each other. I mean, it's very easy to follow up because we have a relationship.
You're having fun.
Doesn't feel salesy.
Yeah, I love that. Thoughtful and gratitude. Those are two big ones. Constantly thinking about them. Cool. Hey, listen, tell me about the scripts. What are the top 3 scripts, top 2 scripts? What would somebody need to know?
I think setting the expectations with the agents of how to send leads. And we just talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's really, really important. They're totally fine with Austin and our team handling their clients as long as they make sure that it's getting done. So being able to help them do that is really important. I think another great script too is just knowing what to say if a client does call you, because sometimes it happens. So I always like to say, hey, listen, your agent's amazing. Always praise the agent. Thank you so much for for coming over. And we can't wait to help you find your dream home. My business partner, Austin, he's absolutely amazing. He eats, sleeps, breathes loans. He's going to be perfect to work with for you. So I'm going to have him reach out to you. Is that cool? What's the best number to reach you on? So that's another one, just because they will call you. And I think too, just the follow-up, like knowing how to follow up. And even if you saw somebody in an open house, how did the open house go? What did you struggle with? Again, ask those questions, find those pain points. And those scripts of finding pain points will help your business tremendously, because that is setting you apart from other lenders or BDRs who are not asking those questions or instead trying to sell a product.
Mic drop, man. What else would you say? Any closing thoughts? Somebody listening today, what would you do? What are you focused on even as you look to continue to grow this year? Give us some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the biggest thing for loan officers who are looking to hire a BDR, because that seems to be the biggest thing right now, give them small tasks, kind of like Steve was just saying. That's really important. So interview process, like have them create a follow-up plan to see what that looks like. Because how quickly they send it back to you and what they've got on there is a big indicator of how successful they'll be in this industry. I think the other thing too, for loan officers who have BDRs, is have open and honest communications with them, hold them accountable, have metrics that they're working on, and keep motivating them. That's really important. You guys are a team, and my loan partner is absolutely amazing. It's like Talladega Nights, shake and bake, me and Austin. That's how we do it. We are communicating quite a bit. So if you do have a BDR, don't just let them run free and then don't touch base with them. Like, have meetings with them. They're invested in your success too. And it's really, really important that the communication is open and honest, and you help them succeed, because you'll succeed in the end too.
I love it. Hey, and you know what? Tell them you're doing something that's pretty special. You're a Freedom Club member. And by
Yeah.
the way, if you'd love to set up a strategy call, some of the scripts and processes that Rachel's talking about inside the Freedom Club, do a strategy call at freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love to help you. Freedomplanningcall.com. But one of the things that I do want to do is you actually do a BDR boot camp,
I do.
which I absolutely love. This came from conversations with our Freedom Club members who said, Rachel, because you presented at a couple of the events last year,
Yeah.
just sharing strategies, and people are like, Rachel, help me identify the BDR. Rachel, what do they do? Can you train them? And you literally created a BDR boot camp. At trainmybdr.com is where people can get more information. But talk about that, because is it 4 or 5 weeks? I sent someone here recently through the boot camp, exceptional job.
Thank
Like,
you.
I cannot speak highly enough of Rachel and the amount of time she's going to help your people shave off of their learning curve. So talk about what you're doing for the boot camp, and it's at trainmybdr.com.
Yes. So if you go to that link, you can put in your information. We'll send you the dates, also how to hire, who to hire, anything that's helpful for loan officers with looking for a BDR. But the class is 5 weeks. It's every week for an hour and a half, and they vary depending on the month. I do them monthly. We cover everything from time blocking and structuring your day to how to call real estate agents, how to get the appointment, what the appointment looks like, what does the prep work look like. We do follow-up plans, prospecting outside of real estate agents, so different unique strategies, and then scripting. We have a whole class on scripting. And then everyone that goes through it is part of a Facebook group that's private. So after the class ends, people can post in there, hey, I'm running into this. And we've developed this community of people that are all just here to help each other grow. And my goal for creating the class was to help people, but also I didn't want people to go through the learning curve that I had to. I mean, I was on the struggle bus. So, if I can help people grow their business, and that's what I want to do. And all of the classes are recorded, and I send all of my templates, all of the recordings to both the loan officer and the BDR. So you guys can go back and watch them. You can look at them. I'm an
Dude,
open book.
it's so powerful. Like it, I mean, and it's a no-brainer for somebody who's hiring a BDR, because the amount of money you're going to save just from learning the lessons it took you 3 and 4 years to learn. And you may call it struggle buddy or whatever, but from 9 to 32 to 50 to killing it this year as well is remarkable, girl. And I love hearing your story. I love what you're doing to make our industry better. So it's an honor to link arms with you. We appreciate what you do for the Freedom Club and just being a part of the coaching organization.
Well, I appreciate you. And honestly, that Houston one dayer was a game changer for me. And you and Carl and Tammy and my coach. Guys, if you haven't joined Freedom Club, you are missing the boat. I'm a BDR and I joined Freedom Club, and it's completely changed my life. I'm so, so thankful. I was doing good business before, but it's a game changer. So you have to do it. In the current market, there's no reason to not be disruptive. Like, come into the Freedom Club, learn how to do it. We've got the master of scripting on the screen next to me, and he's just amazing. So so thankful. You have no idea the impact that you've made on my life. And I mean that truly and sincerely.
Hey, and that's mutual. And what Rachel's talking about, go to freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love for you to join our community of like-minded people. You know what's so cool is that it's just a bunch of people that are successful, that are even more successful because of the relationships like yours and mine. It's funny. I've hired 3 BDRs here in the last 4 months. And every time I'm like, Rachel, what do I do? Rachel, what do I do? Help me, Rachel. What you got? Okay. I'm sending her through the class. And you're just a godsend. And even your boot camp started because you wanted to give back. And just thank you for that. If you're listening, you want to learn more, go to trainmybdr.com. That's Rachel's boot camp. If you want to learn more about the Freedom Club, go to freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love to have you consider joining the Freedom Club in our community. And hey, listen, if you're listening today and you feel like, man, this was a great episode, share it. Pick a couple loan officers who are not already listening to the podcast, share it with them. Make sure you subscribe. That way, every week when the podcast is released, it's automatically updated. And if you get a chance, we'd love to get an honest review. Tell us what we're doing or how we're helping you and your business. And I've got to tell you, be encouraged. This is still a great year with great ideas and great partnerships like Rachel. We just love working with you. Thank you for being on the journey. Rachel, thank you for your friendship.
Thank you.
Appreciate
So
you.
much fun.
All right. Hey, listen, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.